From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Friday, December the 22nd, 2023. Intense battles between Israeli troops and Hamas terrorists continued in Gaza, and the IDF announced more casualties today. They are 31-year-old Sergeant First Class in Reserve Tal Shua and 21-year-old Lieutenant Shai Ayeli. An IDF soldier was also killed in northern Israel in a Hezbollah rocket attack this morning from Lebanon. He was named as 19-year-old Sergeant Amit Hod Ziv. Israeli troops continue to defend the northern border. The IDF said an Air Force fighter jet attacked a terrorist infrastructure and a military site of Hezbollah in Lebanon, also noting a number of rockets were launched at Israeli territory from Lebanon. IDF forces attacked the sources of the fire with artillery. And during the ground operation in Gaza, the IDF shared another tunnel route used as an underground base by the Hamas terrorist organization was uncovered, the IDF said, by our troops beneath the area of Isa within Gaza City. This multi-level structure, it said, served as an underground post for storage, hideouts, command and control, and movement of operatives between different areas, and has since been destroyed by Israeli troops. The IDF is calling on residents of the central Gaza town of Burej to evacuate southward to safe zones as Israel expands its operation in Gaza. IDF Arabic language spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Avichai Adrei shared a map with the announcement in Arabic of what areas need to be evacuated and said a local and temporary tactical suspension of military activities for humanitarian purposes was taking place today with transportation towards safe areas. The United Nations Security Council adopted a resolution today calling for the scaling up and monitoring of aid going into Gaza and for the immediate and unconditional release of all hostages being held in Gaza. The draft resolution written by the UAE passed with 13 members voting in favor. The U.S. and Russia abstained. U.S. Ambassador to the UN, Linda Thomas-Greenfield, lauded the aid for civilians in Gaza and for the call to get all the hostages released and for the call to have immediate humanitarian access to them. She added, though, ultimately, while we are encouraged that the Council spoke out on this humanitarian crisis, we are deeply disappointed, appalled, actually, that once again the Council was not able to condemn Hamas for the horrific terrorist attack it perpetrated on October the 7th. Cited by the Times of Israel saying, I will never understand why some council members have remained silent in the face of such evil. Israel's ambassador to the UN, Gilad Erdan, thanked Thomas-Greenfield, President Biden, and the U.S. mission at the UN for standing on Israel's side throughout the negotiations on the resolution, he said, and maintaining defined red lines, noting the resolution maintains Israel's security authority to monitor and inspect aid entering Gaza. And echoing Thomas-Greenfield, Erdan said it must not be ignored that the Security Council as a body has not yet condemned the October 7th massacre. This, he said, is a disgrace. Israel's President Isaac Herzog yesterday hosted leaders of different Christian communities of the Holy Land, speaking about the October 7th Hamas massacre, as well as Israel's commitment to the well-being of the different faith communities of the Holy Land and the shared hope for peace in the new year. Herzog told the leaders, our problem, all of us, is with extreme fundamentalist Islam, which does not accommodate you or us. It's an expression of an empire of evil that emanates from Tehran, which believes in jihadist ideology, which we all have to eradicate, Herzog saying, and that is why this war was forced upon us. He said Israel is fighting not only for us against Hamas, but for the world at large, for the voices of morality. Greek Patriarch Theophilus III thanked the president. He said, we are with you today at the critical time for all the peoples of our multi-ethnic and multicultural and multi-religious Holy Land. Our common moral tradition teaches the unique value of every human life and respect for the dignity of every person strong. Our common moral tradition recognizes the importance of freedom, safety, and security for the well-being of all. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Friday, December the 22nd. Live Shabbat services are coming up at 6 o'clock from New York City's Central Synagogue, followed by Shabbat services from the Hampton Synagogue. At 8:30, it's the film A Jewish Spirit Sings. At 9:30, an uplifting concert from the Hampton Synagogue, featuring favorites from the classical Israeli songbook. At 10:30, a replay from the Hampton Synagogue, followed by a replay from Central. And coming up next, it's a look at this week's Torah Portion. And that's the JBS News Update for Friday, December the 22nd. I will be back with the news on Tuesday, wishing all who celebrate a Merry Christmas. I'm Teisha Bader. Shabbat Shalom. Am Yisrael Chai.